Richie IV. Used to be Mr. Dougie.
Mr. Dougie?
Mr. Dougie. For a long time. We're going to make sure this test out. Yeah, quick test.
Check. 1, 2. Toast. 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 If I didn't have a mic check, I wouldn't have a check at all. Check 2. What you gonna do? If I didn't have a mic check, I wouldn't have a check at all. Check 2. Well, what you gonna do?
And there we go. What's up, everybody? Richie IV here. Welcome to another Who's in the House. Right now, we're in the house with Tommy the Cat. Hey.
Ivy, what's going on, man?
Hey.
Thank you so much for having me on your show. I'm looking at you through the wires here right now. Let me lower this down a little bit.
Yeah. However it is, you see we got a little bit of a new setup right here in Ella Vibe for this for those who are watching. We just having a cleaner thing. Might miss the table next time, but
I like the purple vibes going on.
Yeah, man. Always for the mantra. Always for the mantra. That's why you see the purple. It's for loyalty, luxury, and longevity. So,
okay.
I don't know if that's true.
Three pillars.
Hey, it sound nice though. I'm about to. Hey, it is now. So we just gonna kind of jump right into it. Kind of the way I know Tommy the Cat. He actually broke one of my records, Black Cowboy.
Incredible track.
I appreciate it.
It's
again.
An incredible track, man.
Man, he broke that on his radio station he was working on at the time. So why don't you tell us kind of about how you got it started with your DJing, where it kind of took you and everything?
Absolutely. First moment of silence for KDHX 88.1. The call letters are no more. 88.1 is still an FM frequency. Unfortunately, it plays Christian rock right now. No offense to anybody that likes that genre in St. Louis, but we've got 3 or 4 stations already. We don't need an unoriginal voice that doesn't play the community's music that it is supposed to represent. And that's what I loved about being a DJ on KDHX. In fact, it was in my second interview. Quick backstory. KDHX, longtime community station here in St. Louis, went through some problems when management fired, how can you fire volunteer DJs, because that's what we all were, but told volunteer DJs they were no longer welcome. A lot of other DJs quit in protest, and suddenly there's vacancies by the dozens. They're desperate for people to get on the air. And a friend of mine who was a former DJ on KDHX said, you should go down and you should apply.
Nice.
And I was a little twisted on it at first because I'm like, I didn't want to appear like a scab, but it was also an opportunity to be a DJ on FM radio.
Absolutely.
I'm like, how can I turn that down? So I went in, had a really good first interview, went back for a second interview, and they asked me, well, what are you gonna focus on? Because it was completely different than the 2 playlists that I had submitted that got me the first interview. And I said, look, I want to dive deep into St. Louis. I said, I'm from back east, New England, Boston, and I am spoiled with a plethora of musicians. I mean, Berklee School of Music, they're constantly churning bands out, all kinds of genres. And I'm spoiled by that. I want to see what St. Louis has to offer. And I think that was what got me the gig. And in all honesty, it took me about 6 months before I really started diving deep because I was excited. I wanted to play the music that really influenced me and sort of explained who I was. And that took about six months to do. But it was a chance meeting with a St. Louis band called the Hot Rails. The Hot Rails.
Hey.
They were opening for a legendary ska band called the Toasters. And they were playing the Duck Room. And I ended up having a conversation with the lead singer, Richie, on the sidewalk afterwards. Had a pocket full of joints, hooked him up with a couple. And that chance encounter led to further encounters down the road. Me visiting various different clubs, trying to catch the Hot Rails where they played. It got to the point where they invited me to where they live and where they record, this place called the Nunnery, across the bridge in Illinois. I wouldn't go so far as to call it a convent, but it was definitely a religious facility because it had a pulpit, like a stage where a deacon would talk to the nuns that used to live and teach in that building. And it just strengthened the relationship that I had with this band, to the point where I missed an opportunity because I was working. They invited me to do a verse of a poem that preceded one of the songs on the new album that they're in the studio cutting right now.
Man,
So even though I missed that chance, I really appreciate the fact that they thought enough of me to ask me
absolutely.
to come down to the studio.
Absolutely. It's not too late. Hey, do another one. Do another one.
We could. We could.
Hey, I gotta make it work, Hot Rails. I gotta make it work. So it sounds like having those connections and having that network has definitely brought you, opportunities, which is always amazing.
It brought me an opportunity with you
Yeah.
in the studio.
Yeah.
So I was in my deep dive on St. Louis artists. I came across Richie Ivy. I just want to call you Ivy because Ivy no, is a producer working with a lot of different artists that his work introduced me to. And one of those artists was Just Rich.
Yeah.
And Just Rich invited me down to your studio where he was cutting verses.
Yeah.
You were also doing other artists in the studio, letting them do about 10 minutes. And you offered me an opportunity to go in the studio. I had a poem or two that I had memorized.
Absolutely. Put it on
And
paper,
Put it on paper.
which is
and,
on every streaming platform.
and it was a fantastic opportunity. I made your end of year playlist
Yep.
on Spotify. So I got to thank you, man,
Man.
for that opportunity.
I appreciate you.
And this opportunity now to sit down and talk with you.
Absolutely, because I know you have experience and that knowledge and just a different ear. You know what I'm saying? Everybody has an ear for music, but to find, people really honing in on their craft makes it even better because it feels like it's more of a story being told than just. And we was talking a little bit off camera, but it's just great to really find people that enjoy music for what it is, and to even listen deeper and to find another message in that, in what they are listening to.
That's kind of like these little mini playlists that I'm putting together now. Not being a DJ anymore on KDHX kind of left a void in my life. I loved doing that, coming up with playlists. And as difficult as it was to put together 2 hours worth of music, because I didn't jaw an awful lot to kill time. I wanted to play music.
Right.
And,
Which is
I'll say
amazing.
name artist, maybe the label that they're on, but I want the music to speak for themselves. But having that void being there, I sort of filled that by doing little mini 4-song playlists on Spotify and sharing that to my Instagram, making sure to tag the artists because I want them to know that, hey, I'm still here, I'm still
Right.
playing music, and I still appreciate you guys and want to let everybody else that at least follows me know I think you guys are really good because I don't want to play bad music. I'm too old. It's like I'm too old to smoke cheap weed.
Right. I got the.
I'm too old to play bunk music.
Right.
I want to play artists that move me, and if I'm gonna pull my own chain, I think I got a pretty good ear.
Absolutely. Well, is there a reason you picked 4 songs for the playlist?
That's all that Spotify would allow you to feature when on the image that got shared in the story. I learned that after the first playlist because I put together a 12-song playlist, and
Right.
they only showed the first 4. And I'm like, well, that's a waste. What if nobody goes and checks it out?
Right.
At least if their eyeballs are on it, they're going
They
to
know
see the 4
exactly.
artists.
That's actually really quick to think about because
And,
the
and it made it a
algorithm
lot
ain't
easier.
really an algorithm anymore. It's just I don't know. It's just as long as you just posting constantly. Do you post more like reels or are they only in your story?
They're mostly stories. If I go out to a venue that's got bands playing I want to see, I try to shoot and then feature. You'll see some of those on there.
Oh, that's pretty
But
cool.
with me now working nights, it makes
Yeah.
it really hard to go out to a show and catch music.
Yeah.
So filling this void at least this way.
Definitely, yeah. Especially working nights. That's where bands and musicians thrive.
That's where they cut their teeth.
Right. Absolutely.
And a lot of the really cool small dive venues that will really give anybody a chance if you can strum a guitar, they'll shut down at 10 o'clock at night.
Well, you know what? We in St. Louis, as y'all know. What's some good dive bars or like places to find some
You've
good
got
entertainment?
the Heavy Anchor, which is in South City. You've got the Sinkhole, which is on Broadway. There's CBGB. There's Not Dive, nice place, Platypus. That's a really good venue to see bands. They seem to be at Utopia. They just got what's the other one that's down there in the Arts District that used to be. See, again, I'm not from St. Louis, so I should know this. Help me out.
I have no clue.
Okay. Anyways, the point is there are so many venues now
Right.
in St. Louis where musicians can have the opportunity.
Right.
So I'm grateful that the musicians still have that, because the loss of KDHX meant that every artist that I ever played and that other DJ played from the St. Louis community and across the river, because I played some bands from Illinois too.
Yeah.
They lost an opportunity for their music to be heard.
Which is the biggest thing, because now radio is so mainstream, and you know, even though they want to say they paying for it, is payola, you know, is less and less local radio stations that would play just local people, like without it being strings attached. It's hard to. I can't even say it's hard to find. It's like zero to find at this point, because they're getting all bought out. All these stations are getting bought out. The people are getting bought out. Like,
they want the voice consolidated, so it's just one or two voices coming that everyone listens to. Because if that's all you have to hear, that's all you're gonna know.
That's all.
And then
you're
that's
gonna
all
know.
you're gonna want.
Right.
Independent voices are so important, especially right now in the times we are living in. We need everybody's voice to be heard and have the opportunity to be heard. Because if we lose the airwaves, then it's going to come down to the printing press, and people are going to be passing out flyers and leaflets and things like that.
It's gonna be like the book 1984, where they can just make up whatever they want, and just gotta.
That's kind of the times we're living in right now.
Man, could you imagine this being in the 70s, how everything is going? You really would have had all those independent stations and like bigger protests, and like it would have been talked about. But, you know, with the only social medias being sensitized, like you can't even say words.
It's hard to get something across in a 30-second soundbite when that's all you get when you doom scroll.
And then, right, you only need, they got to hook you with the first 3 seconds. And if they don't, the message is lost.
So I think there needs to be other ways for messages to be put out there. I would love to see the death of social media. It was an experiment that worked until it didn't.
Yeah.
And it doesn't work. And granted, I wouldn't be the DJ that I was. I would not have found any of the bands outside of my own CD collection to play without social media.
Right.
But its time has come and gone. We need to get people back together, and having conversations be the medium of exchange.
Yeah.
Not a pocket computer.
Yeah. That is absolutely true. Because again, everything is being controlled. Even it's hard to express yourself, you know, outside of social media. Like you said, it's kind of to the point where you need social media to even get your point out there. It's hard to even put in flyers out because nobody's reading them. Like, they're just walking past. At first, you know, having a bulletin, people had a reason because that was the only way they would get news. But now, who looks at a bulletin board?
They will look at it if there is a personality behind the piece of paper that they are being handed.
There you go. Yeah. Which that goes into a whole nother thing about how celebrity has died and
Cult of Personality.
like,
Great song by Living Colour. Great band. If anybody out there knows that song, please dive deeper into Living Colour. They are more than just Cult of Personality. Their album Stain is absolutely unbelievable. It came out in the 90s. It was this perfect 12 tracks of angst reflecting the times that was living. And there is no better guitar player than Vernon Reid. Oh my God. Vernon Reid can shred. And more people need to know about him.
Okay.
At Corey Glover, what an incredible lead singer. Actor, too, was in the movie Platoon. Not a lot of people know that, but Corey Glover was in Platoon. Died, too, in the movie.
Dang.
But an incredible lead singer. He's more than just a body glove wetsuit.
I gotta dive deeper into. I only know that song off of Guitar Hero. That's how. Again, that's how you get introduced to things in certain ways. And that was back then. I remember getting Aerosmith and Metallica. That's why I became Metallica and Aerosmith fans because
Mm-hmm.
playing those and then listening to the words like King of Queens is like is probably my favorite. King of Queens is probably my favorite
Aerosmith track.
Aerosmith track. And I know that's not even like a
It's not even a radio-friendly Aerosmith
yeah,
track. You'd have to be a diehard fan to really know that track.
but I just
And I'm from New England, and I'm even unfamiliar with that track.
Oh
So,
man, I love how they played it. It's just a
what,
lot of
Kings
movement.
and
Queens and
yeah, okay, it's
guillotines,
coming back.
taking out the night. It was an amazing song, and how he like that solo at the end. Yeah, definitely got to peep that. Man, that's a really good song. I'm playing in the background. I'm gonna get flagged. You know what? Even just kind of talking about what you were saying with coding personality. What is a non-skipper album for you? Like something that you can just, no matter what, listen to every track.
Beastie Boys, Paul's Boutique.
Hmm. Do you,
Their second album. They work with the Dust Brothers. They could sample with impunity because
Yeah.
the laws hadn't caught up to them then. And it's just every single track. And then the last one, B-Boy Bouillabaisse, where they took the leftovers
yeah,
and they George Martin from the Beatles it all together in the one perfect track. It front to back. You throw me on a desert island and you chuck one album at me with a sound system. It's Paul's Boutique.
okay, that's what's up. I haven't really went into the Beastie Boy catalog yet. I was never a New York person. I always liked West Coast when I was growing up. So I always felt like I could not listen to anything on the East Coast. Like it was so stupid at the time. But it was just like, I guess it was just kind of growing up like that. Was that do you remember buying that album?
I remember buying that album on cassette, wore it out, bought the CD, bought the CD again when I scratched that one up. And then when vinyl came back, like a decade ago, I bought, that was my first vinyl purchase. I'm like, okay, I'm going to start buying vinyl again. I bought a record player, and that was my first album that I bought.
That's my first album that I know I bought with my money. Do you remember that also? Like the first?
Yeah. Queen's Greatest Hits
Oh,
on cassette. Yeah, when I had my own money, that was, and I'm like, can I go out and do this? Because I had been given a little rock box
yeah. The
for
silver
my
one?
birthday.
Was the rock box silver?
What's that?
No, I thought the rock box was the silver.
Oh, the rock box got bigger as the
Okay.
years went on, but
Yeah.
the boom box.
Yeah.
Like, here's a boom box for your birthday. And I'm like, oh my God, now I can go out and buy music. And that was the first one I bought, Queen's Greatest Hits.
That is fire.
Because Freddie Mercury, by far the greatest frontman there will ever be. Their performance at Live Aid, 12 minutes, greatest live performance in the history of rock and roll music. I will go to the grave saying that.
They did a great job with the movie, like with the camera angle and how the actual
and how that swooped in at the very
just
beginning
all
over
of
the
it.
crowd.
Yeah, just like if you watch the performance, like the Live Aid performance and the movie, like they virtually have it
Mirrored it as close as they possibly could. Yeah.
as close as it was crazy. It was great. I guess the same people that made that's going to make the Michael Jackson one too. So that's going to be. I feel like that's going to be amazing. That was my favorite artist.
Michael Jackson.
Yeah, like I was a huge Michael Jackson fan. I remember getting Thriller on cassette. I still remember my dad taking me to get Thriller. My first album that I bought though with my own money was Jaquan, Hood Hop.
Okay.
Yeah, I was in middle school. It was like, and then I bought the explicit version and I thought I was gonna get in trouble. So I went back and got the edited version. So I can actually listen to it. I was like, I don't want my parents saying
when
nothing.
there were no edited versions.
I know.
Before the
Censorship.
the censorship logo on there.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tipper Gore.
Yeah. And Uncle Luke. I know that was one of the first.
It was
Yeah.
Two Live Crew was one of the ones. So the stickers are there because Tipper Gore, wife of Al Gore, who was vice president at the time, their daughter brought home Prince's Purple Rain. and she heard her listening to Darling Nikki. And there's that line, I saw her in the lobby masturbating with a magazine. And Tipper goes nuts, grabs a bunch of Washington wives and puts together the PMRC, Parents Music Resource Center, or something like that. And that's why we've got those logos on there. But it backfired on it because it became a badge of honor for every artist that
Right.
put out anything with profanity. If it had that on there, kids wanted it
Right.
because they know their parents didn't want them to listen to it.
Right. That is, hey, history lesson right there. That is, and that's the cool stuff that a lot of people forget or don't even like think about. You know, especially in this time. This time, like nobody, that's not even a concern. And they don't even. I at least miss when they made an edited version. It made sense. Like they redid the lines so it still was a full song. And at this point, they just bleep a whole sentence out. And
Yeah.
and it's like
And they don't care.
right. It's like they don't care for the creativity. They just okay with getting the money, and that's what radio, and that's why we need radio. That's why we got to keep stations alive. That's why we need real DJs that really break songs and really have their ear to the streets, because once you lose that, you're gonna listen to whatever they give you to listen to.
The coolest thing about radio from a musician standpoint, and I can say this, is that when I played an artist on the radio, even if they grew up and radio to them was legacy media and they'd never even turned it on because they'd always cast songs to their radio in their car, when they hear themselves on the radio, to them it's like they made it.
Right.
It's like, I'm on the radio. I'm a real musician.
Yeah.
And I loved giving bands that feeling.
Absolutely. I remember when I got that feeling when I got played. It was crazy because I was just like, I kept thinking of every excuse of why you played it, instead of just saying he found a good song.
And that's all it was. Good music. I know good music when I hear it, and I want to share it when I hear it.
Yeah.
I strained a relationship with my brother because I kept jamming music down his throat he didn't want to listen to, and now we don't even talk. But when I hear music I love, I have to share it.
Have you ever thought about being an A&R or like manager or things like that?
No,
Okay.
not really. Now you're giving me the opportunity to think about that.
I mean, when you got the ear, you got the ear, and then not everybody can, do that in different genres. Like people tell me I have an ear. I feel like I just like what I like, but when people are telling you these things, it got to be a reason, because nobody got to say anything. But yeah, that's amazing. Like I said, that you even share things like that, your path to being a DJ, and okay, yeah, and just we got like 8 more minutes, and I
Okay.
feel like this is definitely gonna be a 2-part thing, so we gonna have time. Don't worry, we
I'll
gonna have
talk your
time.
ear off.
Man, I can do the same. Trust me. I wanted to, because you said something earlier about you too old for bunk weed.
Yes.
So, you've been through the journeys of marijuana. Kind of seen the journey of like from it being this crazy thing to now is like buying liquor at a store at this point.
You can literally buy it in a liquor store, and that's the sad state of the industry right now. After all of the advocacy and education and fighting and trying to change minds that cannabis is and should always be a medicine for people. It can have other purposes, but it's a medicine for other people. Now you can go in any corner liquor store and buy yourself a 10 milligram THC, like 5-hour
Right.
energy shot bottle.
Yeah.
And that makes me, as someone who was an advocate back in the 90s, almost feel betrayed or like stepped upon. Thanks for doing the work. We'll take it from here, and we're going to step on you to get to where we are going now. The 2018 Farm Bill that created the hemp-based intoxicant loophole has decimated our industry here in Missouri, and I'm sure in other states, because it's unregulated. You don't have to spend tens of thousands of dollars to get a license. You don't have to have the security. Your employees don't have to have the fingerprinting and background checks.
Oh, wow.
You can just walk in like at a liquor store and buy yourself a little product that's got THC in it that came from hemp. Now, the products that are sold where I work are all regulated by the state. We're all manufactured in the state of Missouri to ensure that they are pure, safe, and suitable for consumption. All these other products are imported from elsewhere. You have no
Right.
idea the source material that they were made from. Was that cannabis grown in irradiated soil? Did they spray pesticides or some kind of insecticide on it? Did they give it growth hormones to boost the yield? You have no idea because it doesn't come with a certificate of analysis. And that's where we're at now.
It's just
Back when I first got into it, the industry was in the state where you couldn't use the word bong in a head shop.
right. Right.
You had to call it a water pipe.
Right. That was a no word. Yeah.
But the first shot in my life that was fired across the bow for me that really got me interested in cannabis was when California passed Proposition 215.
What year was that? If you remember?
1995, I want to say 96.
Oh, okay. I don't know. What was
It gave people a legal defense to have a prescription for cannabis that was given to them by a doctor. At the time, California determined what the medical ailments you needed to have, and it was essentially anything.
Right. It's like, oh man, my head hurt.
But
Gotcha.
it was the first time where cannabis was considered a medicine and
Right.
had a legal defense to it. And when other states saw that at the time the third largest economy in the world said this alternative medicine has value, they all started to look at changing their own laws.
Yeah.
And for me, that led to a lifelong self-education about cannabis. I bought any book I could find about it. The head shops were especially happy to get rid of it because they were nervous because the books had pot leaves on them. And if a cop walked in saw something with a pot leaf on it, they'd lose their whole lifestyle, their whole business. But I self-educated myself,
Yeah.
was an advocate for it for friends and family, lost some friends, lost some family because of it, because it was not something you could talk about positively back then.
I remember the commercials.
Yeah, this
Being
is your brain on
s-
drugs.
being sunk in the couch, and I want to know what she had.
Yeah. So that was the time that I was brought up
Yeah.
through the anti-drug, the DARE, and I saw through all that BS and said, all right, I'm going to try to put a more positive message on it because I see that it has value.
Yeah, I'm happy they kind of seeing it now, but again, I feel like they just trying to make money off of it. It's not even. It don't feel the same. It feels manufactured. When I was in Washington, I started my cannabis journey in 2020, one of those. I think it was 2020. Like I can go in and speak to people, and they really would educate me about it. It wouldn't be a guess. They would tell me the reasons why you want to look at terpenes and not percentages. And now everybody's just trying to get you. Oh, it's 30%. Even though I know that's just the best bud that they tested, and now you overall saying this whole thing, the rest of the batch can be like 5%. Who knows? But
Well, Missouri does allow a plus or minus 15% variance on the reported THC and terpene levels.
15?
15.
That's a jump.
Yeah.
That's a big jump.
And in some states, I have heard of lab shopping, where you pay extra to a lab and they will inflate that THC percentage by 5 to 10% because that's how the market's built right now. The higher the THC percentage, the more monetary value it has at a retail and a wholesale level.
Yep. Yeah, that's why I'll never shop in Illinois, because they charge you on THC levels, and it's like, I just boosting these prices. I ain't even gonna shout child out, but I went to a brand new dispensary in Illinois, on Platoon Beach, and for a 3/8, I paid $80. It was $80. And how they justified it, they gave me a free tray, a grinder, but it was so inflated because of the high THC percentage.
Mm-hmm.
It was actually like $25 on that, and it was $80 for.
Man, if we had that kind of structure here in Missouri, we would not see some of the products that we have. I'm lucky we get really good goodie bags at work. Companies want us bud tenders to try their products, so we'll talk it up to our customers and hopefully increase their sales. And I recently came into possession of a 2,000 milligram bag of gummies, 10-pack, each gummy 200 milligram. Now, I was offered the opportunity to try this, and I took it only because I wanted to see if my theory about myself is true, that edibles don't affect me.
Okay.
About 30% of the populace has enzymes that process cannabinoids far more quickly in the liver and just knocks it out. So if I eat an edible, even up to 100 milligram strength, I don't feel anything. Now, I smoke a lot of weed, granted, but
Right.
100 milligram edible,
You
I
still
should
feel
feel
that.
that.
Right.
I didn't feel it, don't feel it. So I want to put my theory to the test with a 200 milligram edible and see if that actually will affect me. If it doesn't, then in my mind, I got the enzyme.
Right.
And edibles are just something I
It's just another piece of candy.
Yeah. It's just, well,
It's
that's
a
the
piece of
problem
candy.
with edibles.
Yeah.
It's all candy, all sugar-based. Where are the savory options? You got health-conscious people out there. You got people on the right and wrong side of the pre-diabetes line that don't want that sugar. You
That's a
got
good
old
point.
people.
Good
They can't
point.
have that in their diet. But that's the only option that they have. They don't want a tincture because they find it ineffectual. And granted, a tincture under the tongue, it bypasses the mucous membranes and goes into your bloodstream, but it's nothing like, smoking a hit.
Right. And
But,
then that's such a niche market,
Mhm.
and then, everybody now just thinking about their overhead. It ain't about medicine no more.
It's become very transactional.
Yeah.
I'm very much reminded that I now work in a retail environment. Before, in the medical days, not so much. You could spend 10 to 15 minutes with someone and really try to help guide them or educate them. And they appreciate it. And that's how you build that customer base. But now, after being in business for so many years, having grown that customer base through recreational transactions, being geographically convenient for a populace to visit,
Right.
now it's in and out. They place their order online, they pay for it when they come into the dispensary, and they're gone. And all I do is check their ID, verify their order, and give them their change.
Man, that came a long way from trying to find somebody in the alley, or you gotta wait for your plug to wake up.
We got cops that we pay cops a couple of shifts a night to be there, because we're in North County,
Yeah.
and Fridays and Saturdays, just on those high volume days, they want some kind of law enforcement presence there. And you can see sometimes people come in, they're a little taken aback, like, why is there a cop in the weed shop?
Right. Can't you even imagine that?
Yeah.
A cop in the weed shop.
And I'm wondering, are these cops morally conflicted? They spent their entire careers saying that cannabis and other drugs are illegal. Now they are essentially guarding an establishment that sells it.
You don't want to get me started on that, especially with the cops that was big on people using weed and now weed heads themselves. Like
there are cops that have their own weed shops.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, was it bad because you thought it was bad, or was it bad because they said it was bad? And
And for a retired cop now, it doesn't matter because it's legal. There's one across the river in Illinois. When I first moved to Missouri and realized I wanted to work in the industry, it wasn't legal yet in Missouri.
Yeah.
But it was in Illinois. And I went across there and I had 2 really good interviews. The second one where I got to meet one of the owners of it. Turns out he was a former cop. And I started hitting him with knowledge. I said there was a study that just came out from the University of Vancouver that said that indica, sativa, and hybrid are meaningless terms because it's about the chemicals found within. What's your take on that?
Yeah.
And he goes, don't you tell me my indica's not going to fuck somebody up. I'm like, are you serious? I'm like, I didn't get the job. In fact, after I left, after the interview, 5 minutes later, they called me and said, thank you, we're not going to go with you.
Man.
One of the questions I asked him, which I think pissed him off, was, are you planning on flipping this?
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, no way. This is for Illinois people. We're Illinois people. It's always going to be the name of this business. They've since flipped it twice and now sold out to a multi-state
Yeah.
operation.
Yeah. On my last journey, with my last career, I went to a lot of dispensaries, and just in that span of a year, seen a lot of local dispensaries just get sold to corporate, or like it's just mainly been just corporate, entities. Like that's what I miss about Washington. Washington, you can have a lot more independent places. Like Gary Payton had his own dispensary, and like everybody is just, but. I think it's just because it's so new here. It's like when a new restaurant opens up, everybody's still wrapped around the line. I feel like it's starting to die down, but it'll probably be like 5 more years before, like, it's not that big of a deal to go to a weed shop.
It's already that way here in Missouri.
Oh,
It's not that big a deal, and we get new customers all the time, and they're only shocked about the fact they never knew that we existed, not that they can go and legally walk in there. First couple of years, of course, especially the boomers.
yeah.
They
Oh,
walked in and they're like,
man.
I've been praying for this day. I never thought I would see it. I thought I'd be cold and in the ground before we had legal weed.
I can't
And that was
imagine.
great to hear, great to see them get to release that kind of energy.
Yeah.
But now it's just like, I I have to sit there and wait while somebody that really doesn't have enough money to pay for what they ordered texts their friends to Venmo them money so they can move it from card A to card B to card C so they can use our processing system. And to me, I'm just standing there like, not really looking at them because they're not looking at me. They're looking at their phone.
They don't care about the strand. They don't care about what they even get
No,
in.
all they want is the cheapest they can possibly get.
Yeah.
Because they maybe they just make their money day by day and they only have X amount that they can spend. We get a lot of customers like that.
I can imagine. I mean, when
We
it
get
first,
people that come in, all they do is they buy a pre-roll every day because that's all that they can afford.
because when it first started, I remember because when I first moved here, I was like, man, I was so nervous because now I'm smoking now. I'm in Washington. I do this every single day, and this is I got a whole routine. I meditate, and now I'm moving to Missouri where it's not legal. But now they just said it was legal in Illinois, so I'm paying those Illinois prices. But when it first came to like when it was recreational in Missouri, I remember zips for like 120. Like you had varieties. Now I'm seeing like a lot of 250s, a lot of just high prices. Is it because of the quality, do you think, or?
Well, you often see high prices when you have a new brand try to come out onto the market. They want to represent themselves. They want to say to the market, we have the best weed, and our prices are going to reflect that. But the reality of the market right now is there is heavy, heavy competition, and a lot of people grow a lot of great weed in this state. And we're in a race to the bottom, where now it's how cheap can we get? And you
Right.
can see it on the billboards.
Right.
There's one that's advertising $15 eighths every
Yeah.
day. $15 for a 3.5.
And
And that's forcing everybody else to lower their prices because people go where the cheaper weed is. That's why the gray market is so successful. We, where I work, I raised a ruckus about the hemp-based intoxicants and the THCA flower that was being sold everywhere. And they said, okay, let's go out into the field, let's get some of this stuff, and let's test it to see if it's as bad as we think it is.
yeah.
So I went out there, used to have long hair, looked like a hippie, and people were just selling me weed. And it was no age gating. It was one place just had 3.5s in bags across a really long table from here to the end of the studio. I couldn't believe it. And they were making money hand over fist. 3 people walking in at a time is 3 people walking out. And that is undercutting where where we work. But that stuff failed the tests. Everything for heavy metals, for toxins, for
Oh, man.
pesticides. Oh, yeah. Because it's called Eagle something. It's a growth booster, but it's a carcinogenic.
Ugh.
But as long as it makes big, beautiful buds, and that's all that people see, if there's no label on the back, they don't care.
That's all that people see. It's like selling big old fried chickens. It's like you don't care as long as it tastes good. You
You can see it with the produce. I
Yeah.
buy a lot of strawberries, and there's the one brand Driscoll's. I always check to see where the strawberries were grown. Some of them are grown in Mexico. Some of them are grown in Peru. Some of them are grown in America. The ones that are grown in America, 3 times the size of every other one.
man, I'm gonna say this and then we're gonna start wrapping it up. But I was in Scott Air Force Base and we was trying to get some yams for long story short, these things was like big as my arm. I never seen a yam, and these was like all of them, not just like a couple. Like all of them was like huge. And it's like I've been cooking for a long time. I have never seen this.
Yams aren't supposed to be that big.
Man, they are trying to. I'm telling you, America is trying to poison all of us. So, last question.
Yes, sir.
What is your favorite strand? And like, what's your favorite strand?
Wow. Right now, I am really into Tiger Moon. I couldn't tell you the lineage because that's not where my cannabis knowledge comes from.
Yeah.
I couldn't. It's either Kush or it's land races that got
Right.
bred to where we are now. So I don't know the lineage, but it's called Tiger Moon, grown by a company called Gold Rush, and it just hits all of my sweet spots. It's limonene dominant, followed by linalool. So you're going to have a little bit of citrus followed by floral. And it's just an incredible combination. When I smoke, I try to exhale through my nose so I can get the full flavor profile.
Yeah.
And what I've discovered is that Tiger Moon goes great with a cup of coffee.
The
The terpenes in coffee complement the
Yeah.
terpenes in Tiger Moon, and I just love it. And we haven't had it for a while because the company Vertical out in KC used to grow it, and that grower left, took it with him, and that company decided not to do it anymore. And it probably took about 2 years before it came on the market again. And Gold Rush is killing it with Tiger Moon. So I'm loving that, and I'm loving Florida Kush from Vivid.
Okay.
I
like Vivid. Vivid is they flowers always taste really good.
They bought another company so that they could get the Florida Kush strain. Yeah, the company was called Strain, STRANINE, and they straight bought them so that they could get Florida Kush. It was a gamble, but it paid off.
Man, I miss the biggest thing that I miss about Washington was they had so many independent drops. Shout out, I gotta get your IG. I'm gonna have your IG up. I had a really good friend up there that did like whole exposés on strands, but it was like in Washington, like they be like, all right, y'all, we got a drop. We only got 20 of them. We dropping at 9, and he'll get there and he'll hopefully get it after his shift, and he'll just tell me about. Like, I give you his page too, but he had just like flavor profile, how this made him feel, what was the effects? Like, what's one of the effects like from that strand? Like, what's
Tiger Moon?
Yeah,
It relaxes me without dulling my senses. I find that my eyes still remain open. Normally, I like that pressure behind my eyeballs that makes me able to be blindfolded by dental floss. I love the way that feels, but with this, my eyes remain open, but my body feels just chill. And it's a very nice lock and key for me. There aren't too many moments that I've had with that. The first time was Blue Dream, and that was Blue Dream from back in the 90s. This is the original cut. And when I first had it, I felt a chemical change happen in my brain. I felt the key go in the lock and change. And I felt a change come over me. It changed me as a man.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Made me more aware, made me more compassionate. And for a plant to have that kind of power, it absolutely must be respected, revered, and that's not what we got going on right now. We got we got a gold rush.
Right.
I just
Yeah.
shouted out there, but yeah, we got a gold rush going on. People are making as much money as they can. Pretty soon we're going to be down to the big three, a Coca, Pepsi, and whoever wants to compete
Just
with
like
the two of them.
iPhone, and then
Yeah, just like, yeah.
gonna be just a monopoly of just these. Yeah.
And it's already happening in Missouri. Good Day Farms is one of the biggest movers. They're buying
Yeah.
up. They bought up a lot of small mom and pop operations. Proper, they got themselves bought out by a company called Vireo, which is a
Really?
multi-state operator, but they
Dang.
allowed Proper to keep their own
Okay.
licensing and identity. You see that
Dang.
happening in a lot of other industries. I saw this documentary
Yeah.
about
What happened to Chuck E. Cheese?
Tom's of Maine,
Mm.
and they're owned by Colgate.
Yeah.
But nowhere on a box of Tom's of Maine's toothpaste does it say Colgate Palmolive, because people wouldn't think it was a natural product then. They think it was made by a big corporation.
Yeah.
So a lot of companies are allowed to keep their own identity, but be in someone else's portfolio.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I definitely understand what you mean with that like that unlocking strand. Mine was cheetah piss.
Mm.
Man, no matter how many times, because usually, after like a couple of the same strand, you kind of used to it. It always, every single time hit. And I never had it outside of Washington. I had like one of those like head shop strands of it.
Mhm.
It wasn't the same at all. But like I have not. And then the best one that I have ever tasted, like as a flavor, is called Seattle Berry.
Mm.
It literally tastes like a blueberry with a raspberry every single hit. It's like a $9 pre-roll, but even after you take it out and spark it back up, the flavor profile is there. Have you been to like the West Coast over there, like Seattle and Oregon?
No.
You gotta take a trip and just check out every spot because everything has its own. Like here, I'm like, oh, okay, that brand. That's the same ones I see everywhere. There is like, I'm only gonna get this here.
Mhm.
I'm only gonna get this here. Like, and it's just everywhere in Seattle, Tacoma, just. So yeah, I miss the West Coast. And I see that you're a paper person too.
Yes, I prefer to roll.
Yeah.
For a long time, I liked smoking out of a bowl. I got a nice bowl collection at home. But I think after I broke a few too many, I said, all right, let's try rolling. And I was never really that good at it.
Yeah.
But it wasn't until I got some confidence from the owner of Hand Wraps Rolling Papers here in Missouri. I used to have my podcast, The Fields, for the
Okay.
dispensary that I work for. I interviewed him about rolling papers, and we actually rolled during the episode, and mine looked like a pregnant snake, and his looked absolutely perfect. And I was a little upset. I'm like, damn it, see, this is what always happens. This is why I didn't want to do it. He's like, don't worry about it. He's like, just if you have to go through a whole carton of rolling papers till you get it right, that's what you do.
Yeah.
Practice. So I'm like, all right, I took his advice to heart, and now I can roll a fairly decent joint.
And I understand that because my motivation was I was interviewing a shop owner of We Made It Famous. His name is John. And he rolled perfect pearls, like perfectly in like 2 minutes. I don't even say 2 minutes. And I'm like, dang, I ran out of cones. Excuse me. And I was like, you mind rolling one up for us? And he was like, no, you're going to have to figure that out. And I was like, all right, bet. And I didn't figure it out. I can tell you that. I did not figure that out. But it made me be like, you know what? I don't want to ask somebody to roll no more. So I'm going to try to figure this out myself. If I run out of cones, I got to figure out how to make one. But now they're starting to look perfect.
Mhm.
So,
And then that's when you move up to the king size. You
Oh,
start
yeah.
testing your skills. How much weed can I actually put in this paper and get it rolled up?
at this point, yeah, I wish I
Then you
had
start
one right now.
experimenting with hash holes. Those
Yeah,
are
that's-
fun.
And start cutting up papers and making. I seen a Christmas tree one that was pretty dope. And
Those people get skills.
man, and patience, because Lord knows. But I really appreciate this time. This was a great Who's in the House. And I really thank you for, stopping by and having this great talk with us.
This was an awesome conversation, Ivy. I hope we get to do it again. If
We
not,
definitely will.
on the mic
Right.
outside the studio.
Absolutely, man. Well, thank you again. Again, we got Tommy the Cat.
Meow.
Richie IV. Welcome to the Mantra House. Peace.